Hello, welcome to another Cult Emporium pod bite, and we are discussing the grand finale of Doctor Who Flux episode 6, The Vanquishers. And how are we feeling, Rob?
Feeling pretty good today. As I told you before we started recording, I haven't had a second chance to watch the episode today because my day's been pretty manic. And normally when we do these, I like to watch it more than once to pick up any little things that go by me, because, you know, we've been hit with such a lot of images and you know, dialogue and ideas, and, you know, it's relentless really. And that was the Vanquishers I found all the way through. You know, we were being hit all the time with little plot points and little character points.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I'm the same because I said that I was going to wait until the whole thing was over and then watch all 6 in one go and see how it worked as a complete story. But we'll just discuss how we felt in the moment. And do you feel satisfied? Do you feel enlightened?
I kind of do, because it's been a long journey with these characters, hasn't it? Each one of them coming in week by week and stuff. I kind of felt that out of all of them, the one who got least time and least investigation was Joseph Williamson. It's kind of, he's just digging these tunnels and these doors are in these tunnels. And I felt we explored him less than everybody else. But I think, you know, we've got to know most of the characters pretty well over the 6 weeks, I think. And you know, clear favourites have emerged. I mean, they must bring back Carvanista at some stage, because we love Carvanista. And it was nice that Belle and Inston Vivinda had a happy ending. Because last week I wondered whether something was going to go horribly wrong, but it went horribly wrong. But that was for Professor Jericho. All praise to Kevin McNally, because over the space of like 3 episodes, I think he's produced what will be a fan favorite in the future. And if there's any way they can get him back, I'm sure they will want to.
Oh, Big Finish is already thinking about that. I guarantee it. I was really impressed with how they sort of set up the resolution with the passenger. The passenger form was used to absorb or to hold back the flux. And sometimes with these finales, and in previous eras as well, this isn't a Chibnall thing, there is like a MacGuffin that appears in the last episode, appears in the last 20 minutes, and all of a sudden is going to be the thing. Whereas we'd already learned that the passenger forms were kind of this other dimension that you could trap things in. So I appreciated that it had been laid out. And I think every character, while some of them you might have wanted to spend more time with them, served a purpose in the story and had a reason for being there. Except maybe Kate Lethbridge-Stewart. She seemed a bit superfluous, to be honest.
Yes, but it's nice to have a fan favourite in there as well. Somebody that the fans can latch on to. Yeah.
So it's a hard one to process because, as you say, so much happened. But
basically, it all revolved around the Sontarans luring the Daleks and the Cybermen in to take the full force of the Flux, while they felt as they were going to be protected by the Lupari shield, which didn't turn out to be the case.
Now, here we are. Did you ever think that in 2021 the Sontarans would be the big bad of the season, ultimately?
No, well, we kind of started these podcasts pod bites, or whatever we're going to call them, by saying that the Sontarans were well overdue a reboot and bringing back their more vicious side, because they had kind of lapsed into being semi-comic characters. And kind of this did it really, didn't it? It brought them back as a military might.
Yeah, with And this is the perfect way to do them, because there was still the element of comedy. We found out that the Florence had got a sweet tooth.
Yeah. Like me on Christmas Day.
They've been targeting. Targeting corn shops, and that was how the doctor got one up on them. That she promised to give them the recipe to chocolate.
Yay!
But then at the same time, there was still a powerful military force, and I think it was a really smart move, and something that will make this in the future be even more fondly remembered, is that it didn't take the obvious step, which would be in the last episode the Daleks come in or the Cybermen come in, and it gave us a Sontaran story, which I think is great.
Yeah, and a lovely bit of character piece between Yaz and the Doctor, with a few lesbian overtones, I felt, or was that just me?
No, it wasn't just you. A lot of people are very happy about that. I wonder if Jodie and Mandip have decided to play that up, or whether it was there in the script. But so basically, the Doctor has been holding things back from Yaz all series, and hasn't been letting her in. Quite similar, I suppose, to the Sylvester McCoy Ace dynamic. And in this last episode, she said, "Look, I'm sorry, I have been doing this, and I promise to let you in." And there was a lot of lingering looks, I think.
We were that far away from them lesing off, I felt, until Dan put his big oar in and ruined the moment.
You too.
Yeah. And in fact, he wasn't terribly well served by this episode. He seemed a little bit sidelined, I felt, Dan, in this episode.
Yeah. I did feel sorry for him in that he didn't get the girl, did he?
No. And I couldn't quite understand that. Why did she suddenly turn against him and not want to be with him? Because there was all this thing about I didn't turn up late. What was all that about?
I think that she felt that she's always been underestimated. We don't know how long she was in the passenger form for. We don't know how time progresses. So I think that she just sort of felt. I think that she'd been through her own ordeal and just needed to sort of find herself again. I mean, maybe that needed to be clarified in a line of dialogue.
I found that a little bit vague. That she should suddenly be, because she felt quite antagonistic. Is that the right word? But she wasn't happy with him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but I suppose it might all seem like Dan's fault. I mean. Oh, that she ended up there. I think she just needed time to recalibrate. But as you say,
it needed clarifying, though, didn't she? That Di's kind of attitude at the end, why she was like she was, because I wasn't very clear on that.
But I think that's another thread for to be picked up next year. I mean, especially since we need to get. I'm assuming we need to get Dan and Yaz off the TARDIS by the end of the series, so that gives him someone to go back to.
Yeah, I think maybe so.
She just needs a break. She needs to find herself, and he's too much of a reminder of all this craziness that she was exposed to. But that's me reading the text.
You tell me as well, because I am unclear on this. The Swarm and Azure got disseminated by another swarm. So where is that? The same swarm or a different swarm? What's going on?
Isn't that time itself?
Is it disguised as a swarm?
I'm
unclear on this. I
saw him as somebody that was further up than Swarm and
the evolutionary scale.
Yeah, further up the evolutionary scale, and basically atomized them, didn't he? And it was that thing of he will knock 4 times. You can tell that this is the building up now to the finale, because we got that moment of your I will restore you for now, but it's coming. Your time is coming to an end. We no more regeneration.
Do we think the swarm will be back before the end of Jodie's tenure?
I don't know, because it said something about your armies will amass and something about and their master. So I don't know. It might be a bit too crowded, because it sounds like somebody else is coming back.
Yeah, or is that a red herring?
Could very well be. I mean, I think ultimately you don't need the master, because I think the Swarm are quite intimidating.
I think he will be back. I think he'll be back to see off Jodie, because it's her master, isn't it? Nobody else's. Sasha Darwin.
And also there's no guarantee that the next showrunner will choose to keep that version of the master. So it'd be nice to give him his proper dues. So and then of course the fob watch. So ultimately the Doctor decided that was a distraction. She got her hands on the fob watch and had the ability to see her memories, but she's opted at the moment to hide it within the bowels of the TARDIS.
Which means a future showrunner can just seal it off, or they can run with it. So I suppose, or even Chibnall might run with it later.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about the structure, I feel that at Christmas we're probably going to put the brakes on a little bit and have some fun, and then I think the two specials next year will address the timeless child thing, because there's no guarantee that a future showrunner will pick up on that thread, and so maybe he wants to. Maybe, I mean, it could work one of two ways. It could be a way of restoring the mystery to the Doctor, or there could actually be a story. The contents of that fob watch could actually be could actually be a story, or, and this won't happen, but the Doctor could open the fob watch and then the camera pans into the fob watch and we have a whole series of Joe Martin as the fugitive Doctor, and it's all one big flashback. I'd love that.
There's lots of fans who would like a kind of sidestep with some Joe Martin Doctor, which maybe in Russell's Whoniverse, with spin-offs might happen. But ultimately, I think a spin-off has to be not the Doctor, because I think it gets too confusing. You can't have a current Doctor and then another current Doctor. I think what you need to do is if you're going to have a spin-off, you have to take other elements from the show.
I think you have to do something different to the format, but I think you could have a Doctor, because I know, like Russell said in his interview, he made a joke about you could have Nissa adventures, and you could have an entire series of
a joke.
Yes,
blimey.
He said you could have an entire series of Matt Smith and David Tennant. Oh, marvelous! But I think maybe if you did the Doctor, then you'd have to do, well, we're going to do a Pertwee thing, and the Doctor is trapped on Earth, or the Doctor is on a planet, or it's going to be another Flux. It couldn't just be the series proper.
No.
I think you could have include the Doctor, but there would have to be some kind of twist on it, like they're trapped in Victorian London for.
I can't see a new Doctor coming in and being very happy if another Doctor's on the screen. I can't see that happening.
I just think you prepare them with their agency. So you don't get the job unless you agree to it.
It's basically job share, guys.
Yeah,
it's not a job for life now. It's job share.
Just look at these Marvel movies. You've got Robert Downey Jr. having to share the screen with Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth. Like all these superheroes in one film. Like, if that's the nature of the job, as long as they're getting paid, I mean, I think there is a way around that, and then you box it off and you say, well, this is only available on the iPlayer. So I think that you could. I mean, I just want my Fugitive Doctor series. It's not going to happen.
Big Finish.
No, I don't want to listen to it. I want to watch it.
I know you don't do audio, do you, love?
Of course. Anyway, back to the finale. I think I was really, really satisfied with it. There's a lot of characters. My only criticism was that I just didn't want it to end. I wanted more, but that means that it's whet my appetite. And I think while it's complicated, I think if I go back to watch it, I will get it. It all seemed to flow, and everything seemed to have destination. It didn't seem like there was much that was discarded, and also there's this potential for for the next 3 specials as well.
Right. Speaking of monsters, and we've had a fabulous series, but let's talk about the merchandising, because me and you are on a hunt at the moment, aren't we? We're hunting because character options I've got more B&M exclusives out on the classic series. And we love our classic series merchandise, don't we? And within this latest batch, we have got a First Doctor and TARDIS. The first, is it Bratch? What's his name? Peter Baracci or one of the... Anyway, the man who designed the first screen police box. It's the first time Character Options have actually issued a box solely accurate on that design. And we've also got, among this range coming out this very week, I think, we've got a set of the Third Doctor, the Raston Warrior Robot, and the Cyber Leader and a Cyberman from the 5 Doctors. We've also got the Fifth Doctor plus 2 android guards from Earthshock. You'll love that one. You'll be after that one.
Which is convenient, that, isn't it? A Raston, so they're doing it with Pertwee, they're doing a Raston Warrior Robot, and then they're doing android guards from Earthshock. So we just need a new paint scheme there, doesn't it?
And then we've also got we've got sets that are called History of the Daleks, haven't we? And we've got a set with the black and silver Daleks from Evil of the Daleks, and we've also got black Daleks from in a set from Planet of the Daleks. And I believe one of them opens up and you can see the little Dalek creature inside. Wow! So when I think back to the old Dapol days, which bless them. They were huge sellers, but I mean, we've come on from those days, haven't we now? Because the miniatures, the little 3.5-inch figures, I think they are, aren't they? They are really, really beautiful. Some of them really well designed.
What you're saying is that Tom Baker now actually has a scarf.
Yeah,
that's the thing with Dapol. And then you could say, well, they did a time in the Rani set, but I don't think that it was intentional. I think that somebody in the production office told them Tetrax were going to be like a big villain, so they created an entire range, and then they only appeared once.
And of course, the famous two-handed Davros.
Yes. So I mean, I've got great affection for Dapol, but so I should explain to the audience. I am not a huge figure collector. I get them occasionally as presents from family.
Neither am I.
My rule is I never go out of my way. So you won't catch me, buying them on eBay or pre-ordering them if not that you can pre-order the B&M sets, but if I see them, I'll get them. And I've set out to try and get one of each Doctor. So I've
exactly what I'm doing. So I'm searching eBay for pre-owned stuff, because some of the prices on eBay that people, and this brings me to one of the things now, because I saw on one of the forums somewhere, whether it was on Twitter or whether it was on Gallifrey Base or somewhere, that somebody had been out and found this wave now that seemed to be not distributed terribly well at the moment, and they saw people loading up a trolley with all these police boxes, and clearly, that was the intention, is to put them on platforms at inflated prices, whilst denying other fans a chance to purchase. So it kind of doesn't sit well with a lot of fans, that sort of behaviour.
No, I mean, it's a shame because there was a time where I was like, this is amazing, and what an age that we're living in that, like, your local bargain shop, you can buy Doctor Who figures, and not just Doctor Who figures, but specific episode specific.
The Keys of Marinus.
Yeah, I mean, how crazy is that? In this, nobody saw that one coming. So there is that kind of joy of when you just happen across a figure in the aisle. But like everything, when people get wise it, they ruin it for everyone else.
Because I think the recommended retail price of the, if we say the Hartnell and TARDIS is $24.99 or something, you can now find them on eBay for 70, 80, 90 pounds. And it's just really opportunism and fleecing other fans. And I know you can say, well, if you don't agree with it, don't buy it. But and B&M and Character Options have got to be blamed for some of this, because it's so haphazard which stores are getting these figures. I've been into several stores around where we live, and the attitude is kind of, well, I don't really know if we'll be having any. We may not. And if we do, I can't tell you when. It's just luck of the draw. Well, if you're a collector, how can you take anything from that information other than get very frustrated if you keep going back to the same stores and finding that they're never going to have these things in?
Yeah. Yeah, it's, it reminds me of when I was a kid and used to go into Argos and buy figures, and they would have an assortment of Superman,
an assortment of Spider-Man figures, assortment of this.
Yeah, and I'd want Superman in deep sea diving costume or something like that, but they wouldn't have it in that particular branch of Argos, and it was only like when you typed it in on the computer that you saw which one they got in stock, and it would be like, oh, they've got the Arctic Tea Lady Batman. I've already got that one. It was very frustrating, and it's a return to that in a way that it's not all itemized, and it's just like a Doctor Who set is being sent to this store. It's
well, of course, you didn't have to look when they started making those blow up rubber Supermen, did you? Really? I mean, there was no need to go after the little ones then. But yeah, I mean, seriously, it's kind of it is frustrating, and when even the stores themselves can't tell you any information about where they may be available. So I feel one of my letters coming on to both Character Options and B&M. I have to stop myself and say B&M, because I call it something else, which is quite rude, and I go to say it all the time, and I have to no, it's B&M.
Yeah, and maybe they, at the very least, they should put a rule: no more than 2 per customer or something like that.
It's. But anyway, what I want to say is whether we can get hold of them or not, they are truly beautiful collector's items, and if I could afford to collect them all and have room for them, that's the other thing. I have no room for these things. I would collect them all, but I am just collecting a few special bits and pieces like you, TARDISes and Doctors, just to illustrate eras of the show.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. Hopefully, they'll do some Flux characters. We could certainly have a Jericho, a Carvanista, a Vinder and Bell, or sort of something like that. And
a Swarm.
Yeah. Oh, that would be good. They could have the family and dog. You could have Bell, Vinder, and Carvanista, because they're a family now, aren't they? So
just a matter of time before we get them, I'm sure. But it's been an absolute roller coaster ride the past 6 weeks. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I know Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall have put up with an awful lot of unnecessary, in my opinion, flack during their time on the program, and I just think they've proved that their era is every bit as enjoyable as all the eras before.
Yeah.
I know we can get onto this with people, we'll argue, till we go off air that that's not the case. But from my point of view, from a person who has watched Doctor Who since he was like 8 years old in 1973 with Planet of the Daleks, which is the one that got me as a Doctor Who fan, I say, having been a fan all that time, that Jodie's era is every bit as valid as any of the eras that have gone before.
Yeah, I agree. And also, don't ruin other people's joy. It's one thing to watch the first episode and say, this isn't for me, and not come back. But to constantly be banging this drum saying it's rubbish in the face of people telling you, well, I actually really like it.
Mm.
That has been really tiring and a real problem in fandom. Let other people enjoy it. If it's not for you, this is the beauty of Doctor Who. There'll be a new Doctor along in a moment.
It's almost as though I feel I want to go to Chris Chibnall and Jodie and apologise on behalf of my fellow fans for the way they've behaved during their era. Extraordinary and kind of vocalised very much by the Absorbaloff himself, Ian Levine. And he's been at the forefront of this campaign against Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker. And it's just completely unfounded, in my opinion. We won't go there because I can rage on about that kind of element.
And I only bring this up because it's something that was part of the conversation. The Doctor's gender has not really impacted me. I just think of Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor. It's only when people sort of when you see the Not My Doctor lot online, you sort of think, oh yeah, the Doctor is played by a woman at the moment. It's like to me, she's just embodied the character of the Doctor. And
from that very first episode on was it The Woman Who Fell to Earth? Was that what it was called? Yeah. I have never questioned Jodie not being the Doctor at all. She completely won me over in that first episode and has continued to win me over all the way through her era.
Yeah.
And so bravo, Jodie. Keep on it, girl.
Yeah, can't wait to see what you've got in store for us in 2022.
Yeah, wow. You're going to go out with a bang, girl, I think.
So, Doctor Who fans, what do you reckon will be on their Christmas list then this year?
Well, there's a Blu-ray set of season 17 coming out. And you tell me you've not seen all of season 17.
No.
Well, you've got some Douglas Adams joy coming your way because the whole season is underpinned with that kind of Douglas Adams humour.
I've seen the ones that are generally regarded as the good ones. So I'm not really
No, there's a lot to be enjoyed in some of the others, though. Don't let fan general opinion put you off because, I mean, if nothing else, you've got Tom Baker in full flow throughout the entire season, and he's probably at his strongest as the Doctor all the way through. He's in full flight, and that is always something to behold.
Yeah, and also I was starting to get withdrawal symptoms because I haven't bought another version of Sharda for at least 2
years. And yet again, we've got, is it the episodic version of Sharda?
That's right, because they did a movie length edit when they released on Blu-ray the first time, and that's the selling point to this, which I think is a clever move. A lot of fans want it, and you now will get to see how it would have been presented in 1979.
Well, I'll tell you what we will do, because we've also, in January, we've got the animated Abominable Snowman coming out. And I think what we'll do is we'll do a special on those DVDs and Blu-rays and really have an in-depth talk about what we've been offered.
But the great news about the Abominable Snowman is they've released a clip, a little trailer online, and it's the good animation. It's not this animation. It's the good animation.
Well, I think we better pack this up now because, look, I'm on Logopolis at the moment, and the Logopolitans need help with some block transfer computation, and I think I might be just the man to help them with it.
Yes, and if we carry on talking, I'm in danger of throwing you off a telescope. So,
are you the master in disguise?
Oh, my dear Doctor!
I always suspected it. I
am the master, and you will obey me.
Is that your pickup line? Ever likely your bloody single? Jesus. Creepy or what? So if we're not back before Christmas and we don't know when we'll feel like bunging another one out, everybody out there have a very nice Christmas. Enjoy the New Year's Day special, and we will definitely be back with a look at that and see what we think, and also what we feel the next 2 episodes, the final 2 Jodie episodes will have in store for us. We can speculate, can't we?
Yeah, indeed. It's been fun discussing Flux with you over these last 6 weeks. When thank you for any for anybody that's stuck with us. We're still very much finding our way. But
we are. Can I just say it's the end, but the moment has been prepared for.
A tear, Sarah Jane. Well, let's just do last.
Just do all the final characters. There, we've done it. Yeah. So have a good Christmas, everybody, and take care out there in Wholand.